It's that time again. What's up, everybody? This is Dads Lads Kebabs. Hope you enjoy the show. Deuces.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to another fantastic episode of Dads Lads and Kebabs, sponsored by
Sponsored not by Blue Spark, fake Red Bull.
Hey, how are you doing, boy? You good?
I'm good. I had a medical today at work, which I didn't know about. But, yeah, I did my weight. This woman, there was two African ladies doing it, yeah? And first of all, they weighed me. I'm in my full work gear, the heaviest clothing I own. Well, I don't own it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Took my big boots off. Firstly, she weighed me. And it says that I've put on 6 kilos since in the last 5 weeks. Which I've been off my diet for about 5. Easter chocolate's been killing me. Anyway.
It's not even Easter.
Oh, no, it's not. Fucking hell. Then she tells me, pull my jumper up. She wants to measure my stomach. So she's got a fucking tape measure. And I'm like, oh, it's cold. And so she's measuring my belly. And I thought, okay. And then she measures how tall I am. And then she works out my BMI, which is redundant. A very old system that doesn't work anymore. But they still use it because they've got nothing else to do. My BMI was 33, so I am definitely obese. And yes, anything over 30 is obese.
Did they do your blood pressure?
Yes, did my blood pressure. I was 129/85, so perfect. Fucking Jolly Roger. She then pricked my finger, as you know how much I love that. Crying on this podcast for fucking few times. Did my cholesterol, did my blood sugar levels. Put it in this little thingy, sucked up all the blood, put it in a machine, little fucking machine, well cool. And yeah, so we went through that, and my cholesterol is very, very low. Fucking yes. I'm on the 2 scale. It needs to be above 6, I think, to be an issue, or even moderate. So I'm very good on that. So basically, she was telling me, she had all this chart written out, and she's like, very good, very good, very good. And she kept pointing at the BMI that was 33, and she's like, just that one. I said, yes, I know I'm fat. I know you're not fat. I said, I am. I said, I'm good inside, outside, I'm cuddly. So yeah. So I was happy. And then everyone at work kept taking a piss out of me, saying, oh, I thought you were a fat cunt. I said, yeah, but you're all going to die before me because I'm healthy inside.
They will have like crazy blood pressures and stuff.
Yeah, and cholesterols and blood sugars and all that. So yeah, it was all more than me. And I thought, been on keto for 5 years, eating fat and all dripping fat and gooey stuff. And my cholesterol is fucking awesome. So yeah, there you go. It's a myth about keto.
Proof is in the pudding.
Fucking is, mate. Sorry, you can talk now. I've been talking over you for the last couple of minutes. Do apologise. Deuces fine. And all that. Deuces. Fuck off.
Well, what are we doing tonight, Mickey?
We are going to talk about whatever you want to talk about. How are you? Anyway, how's your week?
I am good. I've had a good week. Been busy with let's say government officials this week.
Oh. They're smoking too much.
Yeah. No. I've had a busy week. I'm doing all right. I'm in good spirits actually. I think the sun is, as soon as that sun hits me,
it's nice.
My body just goes. I literally wind down the window in the car, put on some music, and I'm happy, and I feel, and it lasts.
Yeah, it's very good. Positivity and sunshine. I've never experienced it before, but now I really am.
Okay. So, do you want to explain what we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks of our show?
Well, possibly 6 weeks. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We are going to be picking 3 crime/murder cases, and we will be discussing a particular crime each week, because we've sort of realized that talking about crime and certain murders and that has been a highlight for this podcast for viewing figures and downloads. So we're sort of going to jump on that and see where it takes us, really. Hopefully you guys listening won't turn off if you don't like crime. You still get the random bullshit from us at the beginning and probably the end of this episode and the other 5. But if there is something that happens in the world, we will be discussing that as well as the particular crime that we have chosen.
Okay. It's a good introduction, that is. Have you been thinking about the crimes that you want to discuss? Have you?
Yeah, I've got a couple in mind. I've not had time, to be fair, to actually pick one. Although I could probably just Google a case and read off what it said about it and what happened. But I want to do it a bit more justice, to be fair, than just reading a Google page. So
this is what I've done. In front of me, I've got pretty much
a Google page.
So I've got the full case, and I've not just got the case. I've got the sources. I've got the trial. I've got what happened afterwards. I've got what happened during the planning. Now, I'm going to take you all the way back this evening to 1963.
What could have happened in 1963?
Now,
it's not JFK, is it?
Think East End. Think the old London boys. Okay.
Is it a Cray murder?
No. It's not. It's not a murder. Well, one fatality, but. So
does it involve a building?
No.
No, so it's not a robbery. It's not the Great Train Robbery, is it?
It is the Great Train Robbery.
Oh, okay. Yay.
Well done, Mickey. This is a guessing game. You've done well. 1963, the Great Train Robbery was a robbery that took place in Metmore Bridge, previously known as Bridgeo Bridge. And the train robbers, they seized the train and they stole the contents. Now, the train was a Royal Mail carriage train. Now, I'm going to obviously delve into a little bit more detail, but let's just go into context. The Great Train Robbery was a robbery, and they stole 2.61 million. Now, today, that would have been worth 69 million pounds.
That's a good haul.
It's a good night out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, from the research that I've done and the things that I've seen over the years, is that basically this was a fucking dog, mate.
This is what happened. Shut that fucking window. The yappy bastards are back. I do apologise, people. The whole street is full of yappy fucks.
That dog is featured on more episodes in our podcast than some people.
The Niall was.
Okay.
Hey, God, let's hope we don't get hot and steamy in here. Woo.
So, tonight we're going to be discussing the Great Train Robbery. Now, 2.61 million pounds worth of cash, equivalent today to 69 million. Now, were they expecting to find 69 million pounds worth of cash in that train? The answer is no. Okay. The Great Train Robbery was a Royal Mail train travelling from Glasgow to London on the West Coast Main Line. Okay. In the early hours, on the 8th of August 1963, at Metmore Bridge in Ledburn, in Buckinghamshire.
Okay. Yeah.
So, after tampering with one of the line-side signals to bring the train to a halt, a gang of 15, led by notorious Bruce Reynolds, attacked the train. Other gang members, including Gordon Goody, Buster Edwards, Charlie Wilson, Roy James, John Daly, Jimmy White, Ronnie Biggs, the notorious Ronnie Biggs, Tommy Wilsby, Jimmy Hussey. No, that's not bloody. That's
Jimmy White.
Jimmy White, mate.
It's a sicker player.
Hussey Bob Welsh, Roger Corduroy, and more. Harry Smith, Danny Pembroke, and a 16th man, unnamed, a retired train driver, was also present. Okay. Now, basically, this took a lot of planning. This was not, they had intel, basically. They had inside information on where this train was coming and what the cargo was. But they weren't expecting to find that much Skrilla.
Did they know it was money?
From what I've read, they thought it'd be all sorts of things.
Oh.
Okay, they didn't just think it was going to be money. So careful planning based on inside information from an individual known as the Uslerman, whose real identity has never been established. The robbers escaped with 2.61 million. The bulk of stolen money has never been recovered. The gang did not use any firearms. Through Jack Mills, the train driver, was beaten over the head with a metal bar and suffered serious head injuries. After his partial recovery, Mills returned to work doing light duties. So he went back to work, the train driver. Light duties.
Okay, now I don't think I'd want to go back to work if I've just been robbed. You'd have PTSD about it happening again, wouldn't you?
Do you know what? Like, back in the day, I haven't heard. Do people rob? I mean, people don't rob banks anymore, do they?
No one has cash anymore.
Cash is so traceable as well, isn't it?
Mm.
And obviously, back then, if you needed a bit of money, especially if you was a gangster, stealing bank jobs was like a big thing, weren't they? In the 60s, 50s, 40s.
Even up to the 90s, they were still robbing banks.
It's Bonnie and Clyde were fucking robbing banks. You know what I mean? These guys didn't use any firearms, but they planned it. And they full on planned it. They literally had a hideout, which is called Leverslade Farm. They basically planned it at Leverslade Farm. And then afterwards, they would turn there and hid out there for a few days.
Is that near the bridge where they did the robbery?
Yes, 3 miles away.
Oh, not far then.
After the robbery, the gang hid at Leverslade Farm. The police found the hideout and incriminating evidence of Monopoly board with fingerprints that led to 2 eventual arrests and conviction. Most of the gang, the ringleaders, were sentenced to 30 years in prison.
See, that's. I think one of the reasons why they didn't use firearms was because if you rob somebody with a gun, it's a different level of sentencing if you're caught than it is just if you've got a bar that's lying around, a bit of wood,
Isn't it funny that when it comes to money, though, money seems to hold the biggest sentences.
Yeah.
You steal, I don't know what you do. You steal a car, right? You might get 4 years. Even now, I don't know what the sentences is, but it seems that when money's involved, especially when it comes to big money, it seems that the sentences are so much harsher than what.
Well, they should be. But then look at it this way: any sort of drug bust, if they catch some major drug dealer, they get massive sentences in prison because it affects the government, it affects tax, it affects money. The government can't tax you on because you're making money from them without them getting anything back. That's why they get a massive sentence, whereas you could do harm to children, to women, anything like that, and you'll get a very light sentence, if anything. It doesn't really make sense, does it?
No, and I guess obviously because it's money, it is, and especially the amount of money that it's equivalent to now, 2.61 million back then was huge amounts of money. 1963, imagine how fast
22 million.
69 million would have gone. That's how much it was equivalent to.
Yeah, for today's time.
Today's money, 2.61 back then, that would have gone far. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like back in 63, you're probably buying a house for what? 800 quid?
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
So the planning to intercept and rob the overnight Glasgow London Mail train was based on information from an unnamed senior security officer with the Royal Mail, who had detailed knowledge about the amounts of money carried. He was introduced to two of the criminals who would carry out the raid, Gordon Goody and Buster Edwards, by a London solicitor's clerk, Brian Field. He was introduced by a solicitor.
They've got to make it legal.
The raid was devised over several months by a core team, Goody, Edwards, and along with Bruce Reynolds and Charlie Wilson, with Reynolds assuming the role of the mastermind. Apparently, he was the mastermind of the gang, although very successful in the criminal underworld. So he's already quite a big-time shot criminal before this took place. So
yeah,
I'm sure he's got previous.
As they say.
He's got some previous robbing trains. So it was agreed to enlist the help of other London gang called the South Coast Raiders. This group included Tommy Wilsby, Bob Welch, Jimmy Hussey, who were already accomplished train robbers. Okay, so there's train robbing was quite a big thing, I'd imagine.
Do you ever think about your own criminal name, like Niall the Nutter? I thought about a name for myself. I'd be called Mickey Billericky.
No. Mental Mickey.
Nah, there's already people out there called that. Mental Mickey. Bosh. Have it.
So, the group also included Roger Corduroy, a man who was a specialist in rigging the trackside signals to stop the train. Oh, so back then it was the pull signals and the light.
Yeah, someone would get out, wouldn't they? Yeah, off the train, and they'd pull the lever, and the tracks would move slowly into a different lane where they needed to be.
So, other associates, including Ronnie Biggs and a man called Reynolds, previously met in jail, were added to the organisation. The final gang who took part in the raid was composed of 16 men. I mean, if you're a train, and this is one Royal Mail train carriage,
yeah,
right near where I live there's a train museum that's got a British Royal Mail train carriage, and the picture that's here looks like the one. It's pretty much near where I live.
You might have the very same one.
I mean, it ain't got 69 million in it. I know that. Okay, so the Royal Mail train. Royal Mail as well. That's why the sentence is hard, because you're messing with royal money. But why was that much money on that train? That's the thing we'll never know.
I bet if it was a Royal Mail train, it was just delivering. There was no passengers really on there, was there?
And I mean,
the staff maybe.
Easy
to rob.
This train came from Glasgow. Glasgow ain't got £69 million. What is that? Okay, so the Royal Mail train at 1850 on Wednesday, the 7th of August. It would have been warm as well then. 1850. It's not even dark then.
10 to 7, no.
10 to 7, 7th of August. That's like barbecue. That's barbecue time.
Yeah.
The travelling post office. That's what it's called. A special train was sent from Glasgow Central Station to Euston in London. It's scheduled to arrive in Euston at 4 in the morning. Following the morning, the train was hauled by English Electric Type 4, later Class 40 diesel electric locomotive, D3236 for those that are train connoisseurs.
Yeah, get your book out.
The train consisted of 12 carriages that carried 72 post office staff who sorted mail. Oh, so that's how they sort the post. They do it on the way.
Oh, they got workers on their post workers then.
Yeah, 72 post office staff who sorted mail along the journey. Mail was loaded onto the train at Glasgow during the additional station stops en route from line-side collection points. Do you know when they used to grab a bag? So the train would go past them, they'd have a hook. The guy would lean out of the hook and then grab the mail. Ah, male was yeah. The second carriage behind the engine was known as the HVB high value packages. Oh, high value. So that's how they know to go for it.
Yeah, they know which carriage to go at.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, the second carriage behind here was the MVP carriage, coach which carried large amounts of money and registered mail for sorting. Usually the value of shipment was in the region of 300,000. So they were roughly suspecting to find 300,000. So 16 men, 300,000, you know, that's what, sort of like 10,000 each, a bit more, 11, 12,000 each.
Hmm. They were fucking happy, weren't they?
Yeah, but then they must have shit themselves because, do you know what I mean? If you're getting more than you think you're getting, you know it's not right. So, but because of the previous weekend had been a UK bank holiday weekend, the total during the robbery was between 2.5 and 3 million. Yeah, but even still, if one weekend they carry 300,000, that means they should only be carrying 600,000. Because basically they missed a weekend because of the bank holiday.
So what was so special about that trip? Whose money were they taking if they're heading from Glasgow to Scotland? And why put it on a public train? Or like a public accessible train anyway?
I don't know. Well, it wasn't a public accessible. It was a Royal Mail. It was a mail train.
Yeah, I know, but it's still out in public. It's not like you put money in an armoured car with blacked out windows and it drives on its own down the motorway.
Yeah, but then you think about it. That train doesn't stop.
It would stop if someone got out and pulled the fucking signal thing, like someone obviously did.
I know, back in 1963, they haven't got the criminal masterminds of well, they did, but this was planned. This was back then criminals weren't like criminals they are now. There's more criminals these days than there was back then.
Yeah, I suppose not being funny, but they weren't clever, really.
If you was a criminal back then, you were more classed as like gangster sort of type. And this is gangland stuff, isn't it? This is not, this is not knocking over a post office.
Nearly.
Yeah, I mean, it is. But
it's the vehicle.
This is the whole post office.
Yeah.
So stopping the train, what they did is they tampered with the signal light, the West Coast Main Line at Sears Crossing it's Leighton Buzzard. That's where they stopped it.
No.
Between Leighton Buzzard and Cheddington, covering the green light with a glove using a battery to power the red light just after 3. On the 8th of August, the driver, 58-year-old Jack Mills from Crewe, duly stopped the train at the signal. As the stop signal was unexpected, the locomotive second. Oh my God, 26-year-old Dave would be. Oh, so one of the drivers got out. He got out and got hit. He got
dolloped.
He got coshed back then.
Yeah.
Was it cost?
It's a cost, yeah. Yeah.
So the robbers now had. But bearing in mind, so they got on there, removing the money. The train was stopped. The robbers got on board. They attacked the driver, Frank Dewhurst, was in charge. And then basically, between 15 and 20 minutes, they started loading a truck. Okay. Within 30 minutes, they were gone. I mean, 30 minutes is quite a long time. But looking at the map, it's in the middle of nowhere. So you imagine 1963. What were police driving in 1963?
There was cars around, so there would have been vehicles.
Yeah, but I mean, what, like little pandas back then?
Probably. Yeah. I don't know what vehicles were accessible to the average folk, to be fair. Probably quite similar.
So the gang headed along they headed along all the small roads back to the farm. Okay. They hid out of the farm for 3 days. Each gang member left the farm with a share of £150,000. So
nice.
if we're doing, what's that? That must be equivalent to what? Like a couple of mil these now.
15 by 15 is free. Yeah.
So I mean, they spent 3 days because they were at the house. They were watching the news. They were listening on the radio, not watching the news, listening to the radio, seeing if anything. Because obviously, they, I mean, one of the things they didn't really think about is they got on that train, and they stayed within 3 mile radius, by the looks of it. And
Because they knew the local area as well. I bet that's why.
Well, so they rented this farm, but they left someone behind to basically torch all the clothes, burn all the clothes, burn anything that was in the house.
At the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem is they left in a hurry because they were closing in.
So why did the police think that they were still in the local area? They must have had a tip off, maybe, or that's just their way of thinking.
So, the gang realised the police were using a dragnet tactic. What's a dragnet?
That's a film, Dragnet. Do you remember Dan Aykroyd?
No.
Do you remember them films, Dragnet? That's funny.
No.
American police film.
A dragnet tactic, with help from the public, would probably discover the farm much sooner than had been originally anticipated. As a result, the plan for leaving the farm was brought forward to Friday from Sunday. The crime was committed on Thursday. The vehicles had been driven to the farm, could no longer be used because they had been seen by the train staff.
Tom Hanks and
that's after.
Dan Aykroyd.
Fuck's sake. The vehicles have been driven to the farm and could no longer be used because they had been seen by the train staff. Brian Field came to the farm on Thursday to pick up his share of the loot and to take Roy James to London to find an extra vehicle. Bruce Reynolds and John Daly picked up the cars for Jimmy White and the other Daily Briggs, bloody Wayne, Jane, John. It's like a big band, this. Yeah, so they fled. He got his wife. One of the blokes got his wife to come pick him up. What a rookie! He got his wife to come pick him up. What a knobhead! Babe, can you go pick me up, please?
They didn't use a phone. They didn't have phones then. They had carrier pigeon.
No, they had the old phone box, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
But back then, didn't they have switchboards that you used to have to put the lines in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so they knew they were closing in. Most of them went home. The vans drove to the remainder of the gang to the fields home to recover. Fled and arranged with Mark to carry a comprehensive clean-up and set fire to the farm. After the robbers had left, even though the robbers had already spent much time wiping the place down to be free of print, according to Buster Edwards, he nicked £10,000 in 10 shilling notes to help pay Mark's drink. Mark must have been the farm owner. Okay.
Can we borrow your farm? Now we're going to set fire to it.
Be wary of a bloke with a load of money in a farm in the middle of nowhere with no animals.
Yeah, it's funny that. What you doing?
So they all went home, and one of them was supposed to go back to the farm because he didn't do his job properly. He didn't clean it up properly. This was Wilson. Wilson was supposed to go back to the farm, but he was restrained by others. By the time he was ready to go back to the farm, however, he learned that the police had already found it. By the time he got there, he pulled up and realised the police were already there.
Did they nick him then?
No, he got away. Mate, this is bad. He got away. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bad at reading on this and then trying to present it and sort of talk about it. It's so bad. Okay, let's talk about it for a little while. Go on, Mickey. Ask me some stuff because I'm just talking to this.
So they nick the money. They hide out in the farm, not far away, for 3 days. They're listening on the old wireless from the police, from the crimes, and they're thinking, right, we need to get away. And one by one, which is really clever. Although I wouldn't want to be the one that, you go today, I'll wait. Fuck that. I'd have been straight out. I'd have gone home. I would have taken my share, obviously. I would have maybe put it under the floorboards, because that's what you did back in the day, didn't you? I wouldn't have made an obvious purchase, although what could you probably buy that was really expensive back in the day? You know, housing and buildings are probably the most expensive you could probably buy. Cars, yeah, but if you've suddenly got a nice car on the drive and you're moving, it's a bit funny that all in 3 days. That's a bit much.
So what they did, this is how. So the gang altogether was 17 full members who were to receive an equal share, including the men who were at the robbery and 2 key informants. The gang carried out the robbery and consisted of 15 criminals. This lists all the names. Anyway, after the Great Train robbery and they'd done all their bit, they all went out for a big meal. Took their wives out. They all went out for a big night out. By the looks of it, they had a right jolly up.
We're celebrating.
Now, obviously, it goes on to list all the information about each and every person that was basically took part. Obviously, the farm was found on the 13th of August. Okay, so 5 days after the robbery. So not that long after they found the farm. Okay, but they found prints on a Monopoly board. Who the fuck was playing Monopoly?
I fucking hate Monopoly.
Your prints wouldn't be on it because you don't like it.
I don't like it. I'd have been alright.
But I guess that, like, when it comes down to all the planning of these, because would have been a big job, and they were doing this for, let's say, 300 grand. So even so, they took 16 men for 300 grand. You know, it's still, you know, a lot of planning. They had to find somewhere to hide out. They had vehicles. They were dressed in military gear. You know,
when they did the robbery.
Yeah, apparently so.
I say, did they all get arrested?
Captures. They would go to captures. Okay. The first gang member to the court was Roger Corduroy. Okay.
Trouser man.
Yeah, Corduroy. First gang member was Roger Corduroy. He was trying to pay off old debts with the money. He was trying to get out of town. He was being a bit flash with it by the sounds of it. He had a fully furnished flat, but he bought a new fully furnished flat above a florist shop in Winbourne Road in Bournemouth. So he tried to go to Bournemouth. Jesus Christ.
Fucking expensive.
All that, yeah, I know, but all that money you go to fucking Bournemouth.
Hey, that's the Southern Riviera, mate. It's worth a bomb down there.
Bournemouth, mate. Bournemouth, though, bro. Right?
Fucking Bournemouth. You got £1 million houses on the fucking river.
In Bournemouth. Okay. So basically, they were all arrested, like, quite not long after. Some of them were arrested within a few weeks, and I mean, some of them were being proper flashy. There's a 3-part drama reenactment of the Great Train Robbery. If you want to go and see it for more inside information that I'm not giving, because, you know, this is our first ever criminal insight podcast. Okay. Other arrests followed. 8 gang members with several associates were caught. The other arrests were made by Sergeant Stan Davis, a probationary constable, Gordon Charlie case, on Friday the 16th of August, 19th. So that's even a couple of weeks later. 2 people had decided to take the morning stroll in Dorking Woods and discovered a briefcase, holdall, and a camel skin bag containing the money. They called the police, and they discovered £100,000 was found. Okay.
Fancy leaving a bag of money lying around.
I mean, I remember I told you before, I found pawn bags in the bush once in a box.
Oh, they're the best days.
Honestly, plastic tote container full of pawn bags. Not 100 grand.
Which would you have rather have had? At that age, the pawn mags.
Yeah.
That's a crime in itself.
What can you... That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? If you're a kid and you walk into a shop with a £10 note, they're going to be like, right, who did you nick that from? Or, what does your mum want?
Yeah.
You can get away with a tenner back then. Never mind 100 grand. It would take me my lifetime to spend it. You'd have to stash it away until you're 18.
That's what I mean. If they're flashing the cash, people are going to be looking and maybe pissed off at you, jealous, envious, going to grass you up to certain people.
Oh, mate. Right, so The trial. The trial was in 1964. The trial of the robbers began at Aylesbury, I'm going to say Azes, in Buckinghamshire, on the 20th of January 1964, because it would be necessary to accommodate such a large audience. Okay.
Nice.
Aylesbury Rural District Council were specially converted for the event. The defendants were brought to court each day from Aylesbury prison. They were sailed in Aylesbury.
Yes, local area.
In a compartmentalised van. Out of the view of the large crowd and spectators, Mr. Justice Edmund Davis. Okay, so he was present at the trial. Now, basically, the sentencing. All right, here we go. The notorious John Arthur Daly, right? Age 32. He got no case to answer. He was, I don't know what that means. What does no case to answer mean?
He's got nothing to talk about. He's like, doesn't have to answer. Like, he's guilty or not guilty plea or whatever, because there's nothing on him.
So listen, right? Obviously, this names their name, age, occupation, and their sentence. Yeah? Ronald Arthur Briggs. He was a carpenter, apparently.
It's a famous one.
He got 30 years, 25 years for conspiracy to rob, and 30 years for armed robbery. Douglas Gordon Goody, 34, hairdresser. He got 30 years. Mr. Frederick Wilson, 30 years. Wilsby, Thomas William Wilsby, bookmaker, 30 years. They all got 20 to 30 years. Apart from one of the solicitors. Guess what, right? Guess how much the solicitor got?
A week.
He got 3 years out of all of them. Like Mr. Corduroy got 20 years. How did the solicitor? Oh, he got aided and abetting a crime. That's what he was charged with.
He was probably trying to find a legal way to remove some of the money after they got it. Maybe put it into some sort of dodgy dealings, I bet, to try and make it legal.
One of the things that happened after this crime was these blokes had a lot of money stashed away. And with a lot of money stashed away, but they're behind bars, people know they've got money. So, what do? They
get robbed.
They help them escape. There's a lot of escapes here. A lot of escapes. Okay, so on the 12th of August 1964, Wilson escaped from Winson Green Prison in Birmingham in under 3 minutes. The escape being considered unprecedented in the fact that a three-man team had broken into the prison to extract him. His escape team was never caught, and the leader, nicknamed Frenchie, had disappeared from the London criminal scene. Oh, his nickname was Frenchie. Okay, and apparently, so he disappeared from London criminal scene in the late 1960s. 2 weeks after his escape, Wilson was in Paris for plastic surgery.
Oh, it changed his look, yeah.
Yeah. By November in 1965, Wilson was in Mexico City visiting old friends Bruce Reynolds and Buster Edwards. So they escaped as well. 11 months after Wilson's escape, Biggs escaped from Wandsworth Prison. Wandsworth, that's Wandsworth Scrubs, is it? That's like horrible place.
No, that's Wandsworth Scrubs.
Oh, Wandsworth
Wandsworth is still a dodgy one, yeah.
Wandsworth Prison. 15 months into his sentence, a furniture van was parked alongside the prison wall with a ladder. Classic prison escape, just a big ladder. A ladder was dropped over the 30-foot high wall into the prison during outside exercise time, allowing 4 of the prisoners to escape, including Biggs. The escape was planned by recently released prisoner Paul Seaborn with the associate of 2 other ex-convicts, Ronnie Leslie and Ronnie Black. Right? Everybody was called fucking Ronnie or Reggie, man. Such a big
what do you expect?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, anyway, so he escaped. but he was captured after 3 months. He was out for 3 months.
Not Ronnie Biggs.
Ronnie Biggs was out for 3 months.
He was on a Grange Jet, wasn't he?
Flower paid, so Ronnie Biggs and Fowler paid a significant sum of money to be smuggled to Paris for plastic surgery. Biggs said he had to escape because the length of his sentence meant that he was going to die in prison. Jimmy White escaped. Buster Edwards fled to Mexico City with his family to join Bruce Reynolds, later Charlie Wilson. But one of them returned voluntary to England in 1966. That's because he probably wanted to watch the fucking World Cup.
World Cup final, yeah.
Charlie Wilson took up residence outside Montreal in Quebec. That's Canada, isn't it? Montreal.
Yeah.
Bruce Reynolds on the 6th of June, 1964. Reynolds arrived in Mexico City with his wife, Angela, and his son, Nick. Nick joining him a few months later, then evaded obvious police surveillance a year later. Oh, so he's still under police, because obviously they found him. That's why they knew he was in Mexico City. Anyway, a lot of them were back and forth. They did a few runners. Ronnie Biggs fled to Paris, where he acquired his new identity papers and underwent plastic surgery. What do you think they had done? Do you think like he'd come out and he's just like had massive lips and a fat ass?
I don't know. What could you do with a man? Change the shape of your nose, I suppose. Your forehead, your eyes, your eyebrows. I don't know. Cheeks.
Just comes back and he's just like, just like really copy paste, isn't it?
Maybe.
I mean,
don't know.
I mean, it's a bit much, isn't it? You know what I mean? You gotta. Well, I mean, you don't want to do it. Don't want to do the time, don't do the crime. But
no. But even so, that's still. If you were told you could have all this money and it changed your life, I still wouldn't do it.
You would no. I mean, I guess back then it was the nature, wasn't it? It was the fact that they all had real jobs, but they wanted a different lifestyle, kind of like a lot of today's society.
They wanted more, didn't they? They weren't happy with their lifestyle. They knew that their life could be different if they just did this one extra job, probably. But the Great Train Robber, that's known all over the world, I think.
The story.
Yeah, the story, yeah.
I don't think I've done it justice, because obviously it's the first time I've ever done my research into it. I tried to pull as much as I could together, and there's so much information that I pulled together. I was just basically copying bits that I could find. Where's the last bit? Fate of the robbers. Following the deaths of Gooding in 29... So one of them died in 2016. Bruce Reynolds. Wilson... Oh, wait, no. So some of them got out of prison in the end.
Yeah, they'd have made their 30 years or probation, maybe, if they do that.
Bob Welch was the last known member of the gang known alive prior to his death in the 2nd of November 2023.
See, I always thought the Great Train Robbery was in America. In the desert, one of their trains. I didn't think it was in England, to be fair. I've never really looked into the story or looked it up or read about it or watched the programs and the films and the series and that, because I'm sure there is and has been those made about that particular crime. But I do remember Ronnie Biggs, the Great Train Robber. I don't really recall any other name.
I remember Bruce Reynolds. Yeah, I remember him.
No.
On the bridge, there's an actual plaque there. So it's called the Train Robbers Bridge now, for short, Network Rail put an identification plaque on it.
I'd like to go see that, to be fair. That'd be quite good.
It's quite close as well.
Yeah.
It's not that far. There wasn't much of the money recovered, though.
No, they'd have stashed that, wouldn't they? For their families, or if they could get out. Like you say, they pay people to come and break them out of prison.
One of them, I mean, like, they would, they were using payphones. Some of them were using payphones. Money spent. There was a lot of money spent. Like a lot of it spent in London. Some people bought houses. Some people bought cars. Some people just stashed it and went back to work. Like you should do, is what I would think.
For a while, yeah. Like, oh, why is Tony suddenly quit his job and got a brand new car? Yeah, it's a bit dodgy that. No, you go back to your hairdressing job, your road sweeping job, whatever you did before, and you slowly make plans to disappear, don't you?
How long for, though? How long for do you do that? A couple of years?
Oh no, it's gonna be fucking weeks, I think.
Is it? Is it going to be weeks though? Because surely it's going to be like.
Because the longer you're there, you risk getting caught. You go to a country that doesn't extradite people, and you just live your life.
I don't. But do you know what? That for me, and I'm sure a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of criminals, bank robbers, have done that, and they've even now. I'm sure there's criminals that are caught years later in their life.
Oh yeah, I suppose
they will. They'll have their fingerprints taken at hospital, or the fingerprint scanners in airports. They'll scan their fingerprint in an airport, and then they'll get caught.
Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, it'll flash up.
That would piss you. I mean, that wouldn't. I mean, it would definitely piss you off. But if you imagine you robbed the bank, in the fucking late '60s, and in 2000 or what? I mean, however the old they are now, but they're 80 years old, and they get scanned on the way to Benidorm. Get caught.
Yeah, I think I would, like I said, I'd go to some foreign country that don't extradite you to your home country to be tried, and I'd just live there. I wouldn't fucking fly again.
Is there any of those countries exist?
There's loads of countries, yeah. There's a load in South America. I don't think there's any in Europe, but I may be wrong. I don't know much about that subject. I just see it in the films.
That's the thing. I don't know if like. I mean, I'm not gonna go out. I'm not gonna go out and commit heinous crimes or rob trains or things like that. But I don't know if I could live in another country for that exact reason.
There we go. Countries don't extradite. So, Afghanistan. Don't really want to go there. Algeria, Belarus, Bolivia, Botswana, Brunei, Central African Republic, China, Colombia, France, Germany, Gulf States, Holland, Lebanon, Moldova, Montenegro, North Korea, Russia, Solomon Islands, Somalia, Syria, UAE. Wow.
Well, there's a lot of countries there, isn't there?
Yeah, and one's for the UK in particular that don't extradite you: Afghanistan, Algeria, Iraq, Lebanon, Libya, North Korea, Somalia, and Syria. No offense, but don't really want to go to those countries anyway, to be honest with you. I'm sure they're lovely though. But France, Germany, I think I'd go to Holland, to be fair. I'd go live in old Netherlands. Nice there. Beautiful place. Bit of weed.
I mean, listen, you know, Mickey, you're the grave digger from Northampton, all right? Don't suppose you're grave digger. Grave digger Mickey. Mick the Shovel. That's your criminal name.
There you go.
Mick the Shovel.
That's fucking brilliant.
Oh, mate.
Mick this Shovel. I like that. That's funny.
Mick the Shovel.
Mickey the Spade.
Oh, mate.
Mickey the Dirt.
I tell you what, when they were all in court, though, some of them had proper dapper suits. Proper dapper suits.
Oh, have you found pictures?
Found a lot of pictures. I mean, some of them are paying 30,000 for it. So they were using the stolen money to pay for solicitors.
I'm a bit shocked that solicitors cost that much in them days, to be honest with you.
I know, but they were trying to get off, weren't they? Chiddington mail van raid, train robbery, conspiracy to rob, convictions, coordinate. I don't want the coordinates. One of the questions is, right, did any of the great train robbers actually get away? And the answer is yes.
Arthur Daly.
Ronnie Biggs got away. Okay. Born in 19, was involved in the Great Train Robbery, later became a fugitive from justice. What does that mean? He didn't get away, did he? See, so I mean, some of the information I've read doesn't say all this.
No, because he was obviously sentenced 30 years in prison, Ronnie Biggs, and then he escaped with a ladder.
And got his face all done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got away. They're saying he got away.
Oh. What? Yeah, he's probably still on. He was on the run till he died, didn't he?
Must have been. The following year, Biggs escaped from prison. Yeah. Plastic surgery in Paris. He fled to Brazil in 1969. 5 years later, he was arrested. He was arrested by Scotland Yard and another detective in Rio de Janeiro, but avoided extradition. Oh, so he avoided it because he had fathered a Brazilian child. Right. So he fathered a Brazilian child. Biggs, who often used his notorious gangland background to make money. No one is innocent with this punk band Sex Pistols in 1978. What?
Here we go. Ronnie Biggs was arrested after the Great Train Robbery 64, escaped prison, and lived as a fugitive for 36 years before returning to the UK and being arrested again in 2001. Yeah.
In 2000.
So yeah, like you said, it's in Wandsworth prison, living in Paris, Australia, and eventually settling in Brazil. Fancy being going back to the UK in 2001. Straight away arrested. He was released in 2009 due to health reasons, and died in December 2013. So he had 4 years of freedom, basically, after he come back to the UK. He died of age of 84.
Oh yeah, there's a lovely picture of Ronnie Biggs giving the old fingers.
Yeah.
Let's have a look what he looks like. And I mean, he had some serious. He had some serious surgery.
Yeah.
Have you not seen a picture of him flicking the V's as an old man?
Fucking hell, he looks like the bloke from... where's Niall gone?
I'm back.
Oh, there he is. He looks like the bloke from Poltergeist 2.
Oh, yeah. You're all gonna die.
You're God's children. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Yeah, V for victory. Yeah. I do think that sentence was too long for a train robbery. Personally, 30 years for robbing a train with no guns. But I suppose they were strict back in them days, which is fair enough.
Do you know we were talking about Dave Courtney? There's a picture of him and Dave Courtney at a funeral.
Was it a Cray funeral?
I don't know what it was. I think
No, because Dave Courtney did Ronnie's funeral. Yeah. He did security for Ronnie's funeral.
Ronnie Biggs gestures the waiting press at the funeral of Bruce Reynolds. Oh, it was Bruce Reynolds' funeral. Yeah. And I mean, so he was... What a story, though. Because, I don't know. It must have been... it must have been pretty shit going to... he got a lovely looking wife in Rio. He's an old man and he's got a lovely looking bird. He's father of a kid. He's got a shed load of dosh. He's got a new face, so he looks about 10 years younger. 2001 though, he came back. Why do you think he came back? Do you think enough time's passed?
He died 13 years later at 84. So he came back when he was basically 70. 71. He was 71 when he came back to the UK. there probably is a reason, which I'm sure there is on Google. I'd like to know anyone listening that knows some more information about the Great Train Robbery. Obviously more than we do, because we don't know that much, to be fair. We weren't alive. Not really researched it before. So we'd like to know your guys' thoughts on it. What do you reckon about the sentencing? Was it too much? What do you think about the lives of the people that escaped, went to prison, escaped again?
I want to go and watch the drama now, because there's a 3-part drama with some really good actors in it.
Yeah, I would like to probably watch the story now. I'm sure there's one on Netflix, if that's the one you're talking about.
It's
or YouTube. There will be. I bet there's one on YouTube. A brief story about it all.
It's got the Welsh. Do you know the Welsh guy that's in Fast and Furious?
The Welsh one.
The Welsh one that's in Fast and Furious.
Is it man, woman?
Man. Have a look. Google it. What's he called? He's in it.
Welsh geezer.
Yeah, Welsh guy, Fast and Furious. I can't remember his name. His name's literally.
Okay.
He plays. I don't know. He plays Shaw's brother in Fast and Furious.
Owen Shaw.
Yeah.
One of the
What's his name? He's in it anyway. But some proper good London actors.
Sure, he's Welsh.
Been in some of a lot of other films. He's Welsh, yeah.
He's Welsh. His name is Luke Evans.
Luke Evans.
Yes, Owen Shaw he plays.
Yeah, he's in the Great Train Robbery thing.
Ah.
I'm gonna go and give it a watch. I think let's get some. I'm not going to say I'm going to know more information, but I would like to see a reconstruction of. There's quite a lot of actors in the TV show by the looks of it themselves.
I've got some good ones for my 3.
Mine are all going to be different as well. This was just a. I don't know. This was last night. We talked about it last night, and I just was like, right, what? I wanted to find one. Obviously, there's a lot out there to talk about. There's some that have already been on, on TV that we can discuss. That I don't know. There's so many that we can discuss. And I think we'll. If anyone's got any recommendations, by the way, if something they'd like to hear us do our research on and discuss and put our views across, then give us a shout.
Leave it in the comments on YouTube, please.
And on that note, people, thanks for joining us on another fantastic episode of Dads, Lads and Kebabs, the crime series of the 6-part crime series. And on that note, in the words of Ronnie Biggs, deuces and fuck off.
Fuck off! You can't arrest me. I'm innocent.